Fallout 4. Hold up. Now's the part where you ask, wait, hold up, Dave. Don't you like making original content that hasn't been done a million times before? And I'd say, yes. Other than my Minecraft, my random compilations and stuff, all of that random stuff. Other than that, yes. And I'm going to make this as original as possible by telling a story of, how to get a job, Fallout Edition. So basically, I was out and about, and I decided I was going to make the very logical, mature decision and get a job. Okay, this sounds great already, doesn't it? You get jobs all over the wasteland, working for this guy, working for that guy, working for a faction. No, this would be new. I was going to work at a company, a pre-war company. So, I wasn't actually planning on doing this. To say that would be too responsible of me. Instead, I was looking for some materials to, build my settlement. So I found this factory and went inside, like a normal person would. There's materials in factories. Next thing you know, this Mr. Handy here is telling me that the requirements to get a job here have dropped significantly, and that if I take a test, they'll give me a job today. I kind of laugh at him, give him a little bit of, we need a job after this collapsed economy, I guess my character said it better, but he then proceeds to give me this test.
Due to increased demands for staff in all fields, we have condensed the employment test accordingly. Question 1. Do you possess previous experience with polymer synthesis?
Yes.
Calculating test results. I am pleased to offer you the position of researcher. Expect a bright future in polymer research.
Now, as you can tell, I am well overqualified, and just notice he never asked if I knew how to use computers, so, that'll be relevant later. He then walks me over and sits me down saying, hey, I've got a presentation for you so you can get oriented with the lab. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And this is literally all he does. He tells me to like and subscribe. Look at this. Beautiful content, wouldn't you say? After this, he takes me downstairs. He hands me what is probably the coolest apparel in the game. I mean, look at this. This be styling right now. Then he introduces me to the lab. As soon as I walk through the door, he closes the door and tells me that mandatory overtime has been introduced by the boss man.
That Director Elwood has issued mandatory overtime due to uncompleted milestones. Consequently, staff will not be allowed to leave the labs until the piezonucleic lining project has been completed. Please report to the project lead, Dr. Elwood Woolham, for specific research assignment. Starting decontamination sequence.
I don't take too kindly to this and, give him a few choice words, all of which I cannot put on this video. But anyway, we continued on and decided to do a little bit of searching to figure out what exactly the job was. After making good impressions with the fellow co-workers, I found a few test tubes, you'd say. I guess there were more of containers, but that's just, actual stuff that you should know for the job. I then realized that in order to make these tubes, these containers, do anything, I need to find the right ones. And to figure out what's in the tubes, I need to learn how to use computers. And unfortunately, this is something I don't know how to do. Eventually, with no help of Mr. and Mrs. Handy out there, I do get the computer to work and test the samples. It turns out that I do not have any of the right samples, and then spend another, give or take, hour and a half of my time looking for these samples, only to realize that they had glitched out of my inventory, and I had to restart the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. I just left them under a desk that I didn't look at. Funny mistake. Only wasted an hour and a half of my life. After meeting the rest of my coworkers, and who I'd presume was my boss, I put the test tubes in the machine, fight through another one of my coworkers who happens to be glowing with enthusiasm today, and find a uranium test tube or something radioactive. Put it in the machine, remember how to use computers, and boom, I made a 3D printer. That sounds pretty lame, seeing that we have 3D printers that are much easier to use today, seeing we don't need radioactive material to use it. What did I get out of this whole experience? Oh, not much. Just a, power armor chest piece.
This is Director Elwood's office.
Won't be able to
I
pick
expect
this.
he will be quite excited to see the prototype. Sir, wonderful news! The Nucleus-Strictive Blading Project has finally produced a working prototype. Director Elwood, HR has requested that I remind you to respect employees' personal space. I must apologize for the director. He hasn't been himself lately. Must be the office flu. Payroll systems indicate that I have been authorized to provide you with a completion bonus at this time. Here is your bonus, minus taxes and benefits. Unfortunately, due to a lack of current projects, we must lay off redundant staff members at this time. This is not a reflection on your work, and we will be happy to provide you with a positive reference. Shutting down.
War. War never changes. In the year 1945, my great-great-grandfather, serving in the army, wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife and the son he'd never seen. He got his wish when the U.S. ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power. People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of science fiction. Domestic robots, fusion-powered cars, portable computers. But then, in the 21st century, people awoke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of every major resource. The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year 2077. We stand on the brink of total war. And I am afraid. For myself, for my wife, for my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing, it's that war never changes.